back. If you are new here, my name is Alison and I'm a freelance graphic designer. Today we are doing part 2 of the branding for BETH, and we are doing the discovery and kind of choosing the directions today. Some things that I'm going to cover in this video are how I interpreted what she told me into a visual direction, how I'm going to communicate that with her via mood boards, and her final decision as far as the direction that we're going to go. So if you're interested in how a brand goes from conception to production, then stick around because we have one more part coming after this. So I'm going to be building a deck for BETH in Adobe InDesign so that I could send it to her as a PDF. So the first thing that I do is fill out the document with the information that I already have. That is going to be the project goal, the brand values, the brand traits that we decided together, her target demographic, which I didn't discuss in the last video, but I'll share a little bit more in this one. So after I finish filling out all the information that I already know, then I work on deciding the direction based on the information that I have. So my goal when creating these documents is to make it as easy to understand as possible, and for the person who's looking at it to just be able to skim over the information and be able to get the gist of what I'm talking about, because most of this we've already talked about, so I just want to remind her of where we're at and the decisions that we've already made. So just a few little tips about InDesign. I really love it. I use it for document layout like I'm doing here. I have all of my type hierarchy set in paragraph styles, but when I want to call something out, such as these like little headers, but I don't want to make it bigger, I will go into character styles, and I have a couple different ones here, and I can just highlight what I want to be a different like weight, and then I can just choose that because I've already set it. So it's a really nifty, like fast way of creating pitch decks. And I also have all of my colors in here, so my brand is pretty bright and fun, so I like my pitch decks to be pretty colorful as well. I have pagination in here, so I have pagination for my colorful pages, and then pagination for any light color pages, so I can just switch that in this menu over here that shows each page. Like this black is, you could still see it, but I just want to change it to white. So I never really have to go outside of my rules. I've already set everything up. And then if I need to add something, like I want to add a different color or something like that, it's really easy to do. So I asked Beth to come up with 2 to 3 different ideal client personas, and these aren't to say that you are necessarily saying no to anyone, but it's being a little bit more focused with your message and like goal-oriented with your brand. So the first one that she came up with was an 18-year-old named James, who is likely a college student, and they shop at Zoomies, Hot Topic, Forever 21, Tilly's, Lisa Frank, Supreme, all those kinds of brands. So that's what this individual is used to seeing in terms of branding. So that's important to keep in mind when you are creating a brand for your client. I always ask how you're going to be interacting with this client. For her, it's going to be mostly through social media, but for some other clients, it could be somebody walking past your physical location or through email campaigns or anything like that. So it's good to know like what kind of assets that you would need to make or what your focus should be when creating their brand for how they're going to be communicating with their client. Her other ideal client or audience member that she came up with is Yasmin, who is 25, makes a little bit more money, has graduated from college, probably a young professional who's living in the city and just starting their career. This might be one of their first adult places. So I'm assuming that we're probably going to want to focus more on this second persona, which is young professional, young hip art buyer kind of personality. They are going to be the ones who are more likely to hire Beth for a commission or buy one of her prints so that they can, hang it in their new apartment or whatever it is, because her art is so unique and they want to express that about themselves. So just to go over how I'm going to make the decisions for Beth. So usually I like to do some word association with what we talked about in the meeting, and a lot of what she talked about flowers a lot, that she really liked basic daisies, which kind of gives me a clue. And she also said that her artwork was eye candy, and she used words like trendy, bright, quirky. And then I went ahead and took a look at her artwork and pulled some references. And what I noticed a lot about her artwork was that she was using iconography of flowers and eyeballs, and there was always something a little bit mysterious about her artwork. There was always something kind of dark about it, even though it was very pretty on the surface. So those are things that I want to exude in the branding. I also really liked the idea that it would be mysterious. I would also go as far as saying that her artwork is pretty feminine, not just because she draws people that present femininely, but it's also just very feminine in presentation. So I want to make sure that we kind of feel that same way in her branding. So Beth said that she wants a typography logo, and I do some hand lettering. So I wanted to do a hand lettered option for her, but I wanted it to feel a little vintage and a little neo-futuristic. The feeling that I want to evoke is kind of similar to that of Drive or Blade Runner 2049. I want it to feel mysterious and futuristic, but still that feminine mystique kind of vibe as well. So the second concept that I am going to present to her is psychedelia, because she said that she really liked the simple daisy iconography. And I think that because her artwork is so dark, I don't want to just do straight psychedelia, but kind of esoteric and dark and mysterious. I want it to be dynamic and graphic, so this one is going to be really bold. So now that I have that kind of idea in mind, it's time to go find some things that kind of exude that quality. Okay, so I went ahead and pulled some images. I have the completed mood board for Neon Dreamscape and Psychedelia. So I pulled most of these images from Unsplash, but I did pull a few from Google Image Search and from Pinterest. I try to avoid that as much as I possibly can, but in this case, I thought that it would help me communicate the idea that I'm trying to present. So on Neon Dreamscape, I have an image of Radio City Music Hall because it has that dark neon vibe that I'm going for. I have a couple of contemporary examples of 80s type. So I have the Drive movie logo, type treatment. I have an image still from Blade Runner 2049. I also have this really cool image of a bathroom, but I really liked the grid and the pink and the plant. It just felt like what I would want her brand to be. I also pulled an image of Takashi Murakami because she said that's one of her biggest influences. And I also pulled an image of some crystals because it had a really nice pink and purple pastel kind of color palette. So I want to balance the dark, mysterious neo-futurism with some light, like kind of pretty imagery as well. And then for Psychedelia, I have some more type references here because this would be more of that like funky block type lettering. I really want it to be very graphic. So I have some images of eyes and different like photo treatments that you could potentially do. I have some different type treatments, and I have a couple images of iconography. So now that I have the final deck, I'm going to send that off to her and we will see what she has to say. So she chose Psychedelia. So we are going to be focusing on creating 2 unique logos within that concept in the next video, and then we will be getting her reaction live on camera and seeing what she likes. If you like this series, please give it a thumbs up, and if you really like this series, please hit subscribe and the bell notification so that you know when part 3 comes out. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.